This is also, I guess a lot of people are starting to hear about, this is school budget season. And we're hearing a whole lot of things about this tax cap. Now, the tax cap we fought for the last couple of years, as you know, it was one of our biggest successes, is to go out and force a tax cap. Now, there's a couple of portions of this tax cap many people don't understand. First of all, the cap calls for a 2% or rate of inflation cap on property tax increases from the previous year. In this particular year, it's going to be 2%. So your school district, if they propose a budget that exceeds that 2%, you're in violation of the cap. Now, they do have the opportunity to propose a budget that exceeds the cap. But if they do that, they have to get a supermajority of votes from the community, 60%. Now, there's been some misinformation going around, especially there was an article in Newsday the other day from the Lindenhurst School District. And their superintendent was quoted as saying, well, no, we can exceed the cap because there are certain things that are exempt and all that kind of stuff, and if we want to do a 3.8% increase, we can do it. But he's wrong. You still must have a super majority. Now, one of the games they're going to probably play is that right now, New York State isn't clear on its budget. School districts don't yet know what percentage of state aid they're going to get, or what that increase is going to be. Now, I don't know if you've ever looked at your school budget votes and your proposed increases in budget and the impact on taxes over the years. But I know last year, we passed a budget here in West Islip. They called for a 3.5% property tax increase, and it passed. But when you got your property tax bill, it was close to 7%. So you're not always guaranteed that the budget that's put up and the impact that's going to be shown on the taxes is what's actually going to happen. This year, it is capped at 2%, and without 60% of a vote, they cannot exceed a 2% property tax. Now, that doesn't mean they can't spend more or spend less, because the other component of state funding, or funding for school districts, is state aid. Now, the understanding is there's going to be some increases in state aid, that kind of stuff. But what we're going to be working on right now, we're just developing this at the committee level, is an island-wide campaign. Because the other big aspect of the tax cap legislation is that if you vote no twice, the increase is 0. The old concept of the contingency budget, that if you defeated your budget, it automatically went up, rate of inflation plus 2 points. That's how school districts over the last 10 years on Long Island averaged 6.5% tax increases every year for the last 10 years. Taxes have doubled in that 10-year period of time. That can't happen anymore. Now, the problem that we have, though, is that over the last 10 or 20 years, there are people who have been opposed to large tax increases on the school budgets. But they stayed home because you could vote no, and in some cases the taxes would go higher than if you voted yes, because the contingency had such a large increase built into it. This is a message that has to get out, because some people are just going to go on, it's going to be school budget time, they're going to say, oh, it's too high, or I want to vote no, but they don't, because they think that that doesn't make a difference. This year, it makes a difference. This is the first time in my lifetime that if you vote no on a budget, the increase is 0. And we have to get that word out. Not necessarily because we're looking for 0 increases, but so that we encourage boards to stay within the cap. Now, there's a lot of, as I said, there's a lot of misinformation about that. And again, this article in Newsday just went out, and I've been getting a lot of questions about it. But in fact, what that gentleman was saying is not factual. They have to have a supermajority to pass it. Last year, they got 51% in that particular district. Now, we have some information that's going out relative to school districts. I sent it out to all the meetup members. We also need to put it up on the main website. And it's a series of documents that shows individual budgets for every school district in the state. It also includes salaries for superintendents, for administrative people. And it also shows the percentage of budget votes in the last few years. So those three documents, if you take a look at that, zero in on your particular district. You can see what the vote was last year, you can see what the increase was last year, and you can see how much money is being spent on administrative costs. Island-wide, it's about 17.5%. 17.5% of every dollar that you pay for your education system pays for a superintendent, assistant superintendent, building principal, or other, high-end official. That's excessive. It's excessive in any business environment. Yet that's what we have here. And the only way that we're going to be able to force a reduction in spending, now the cap doesn't reduce spending, it says you can increase 2% on the property tax side. It just caps the property tax side. The state has every opportunity, if they like, to increase spending on the other side. So it is possible that a school district could increase actual spending in dollars by 3, 4, or 5%. As long as the impact on the property tax side remains under 2, that's within the guidelines. So it's extremely important that we start getting that message out, and we will. We're going to be doing that. Now, yes?
You said the administrative, but only people, that's before they even get to the teachers.
Yeah, that doesn't include, no, I'm talking about straight administrative costs.
And there are somebody else said something about something, and you look at all the counties, all the state, all the school districts, Nancy said.
Thank you.
It's amazing, they got one superintendent guy, they're spread out. They have 4 of these people. He's got 13 in Smithtown. 18, 30, I counted them.
128 more no votes in our budget gets released.
OMAC, well, we need 128 no votes, and that goes under 2%, all right? Yes? You have to say no twice. If you turn down your budget the second time, there's no third vote. If you vote no twice, the increase is 0. Now, of course, for a school board that's smart, they're going to make sure that the second time they bring it up, it's going to be under the cap. That's why you have a second vote. So, if a district a lot of districts are going to do this. We already know this. They're going to take a shot. They're going to go out there and say, there's no way we could possibly reduce spending by this amount. So we're going to put up a 4.5% increase and dare the people to vote no. Now, of course, if they do vote no, which is only 40%, you only need 40% now, they have an opportunity to put up a second budget. If that's under the cap, if it stays under the 2%, then it's a simple majority to pass the budget. So that's why. It's designed to encourage districts to and give a second chance to reduce the spending.
As I speak, there's a meeting going on in East Islip, trying to fight what the board is doing over there. They are saying, you vote no. You will have no sports. You will have no music. They're cutting it out.
But understand this. That's misinformation.
Okay.
This legislation does not cut the spending. It allows a 2% increase. And a lot of people were upset. They said, oh, it should be 0. It should be 0. Well, no, the rate of inflation is going to be 2%. There are natural increases in expenses.
They're saying the budget is just too high, we have to cut, and so in order to deliver
No,
to the tax.
and that's what they say, okay? And I got a lot of phone calls from some people last year saying, oh, I'm going to lose my job in South Huntington because, you guys in the Tea Party are trying to cut our spending. Teachers crying, we're going to lose my job, lose my job, lose my job. Not one lost a job. It's all just, I don't want to tell you what it is, but you know what I'm talking about, all right? That's important. So anyway, there's going to be a bit of a program on that. We're reaching out to a couple of other groups. The Long Islanders for Educational Reform group, for instance. They're trying to raise some money to go out there and get some kind of signs out there, that just to get the point out, lawn sign type things. No means no. If you say no, it's 0. And a lot of people are not aware of that. And we'll probably get involved in distribution of that kind of stuff if and when we get it together. There'll be materials, there'll be web stuff, but all that will be coming up in the coming weeks or so.